Last time we ran aground, we ran out of water 4 days ago.
We can literally use the sun and our batteries to turn the ocean into drinking water.
My job is to learn how to fiberglass. Let's just give it a go, huh? Oh, I just got something in my eye.
I think all the plumbing is done.
Now we're just running around trying to stop all the leaks. Yeah, not the most professional.
We're not thinking.
Oh my goodness, this is taking ages. You're supposed to do that?
This has probably been the most boat yoga project we've ever done on this boat. Tight space, huh?
After filling our water tanks so that we could sail off into the sunset and live off-grid for a while, of course, last time we ran aground and had to dump all of our fresh water just straight back into the sea. So today's job, we need to sail all the way back again, refill our water tanks, and then we'll try again.
Okay, that will be the last time we pay for water.
The last time.
I hope. We have been sitting on these boxes now for a couple of weeks, and it's partly because I'm scared of plumbing. We purchased this Cruzaro Watermaker, and yeah, there's a lot to learn.
Yeah, we don't really know anything about water systems, about plumbing, about water makers. I mean, we don't know anything about anything we install, but we just kind of pick it up along the way and
make it up. That's all you can do. So we deliberately got hold of this, which is the Cruzaro 33 gallon an hour Watermaker on 12 volts, which means that we can literally use the sun and our batteries to turn the ocean into drinking water.
Yeah, baby!
How cool is that? That's going to be amazing. So, yeah, we have to pick it all apart. The good thing is this kit comes with pretty much everything we need. It's got the membranes, the pumps, the filters, and the things I don't know about yet. However, the way we're going to install it, we're going to have to add a few bits and pieces, I think, some pipes.
Yeah, so we just need to go and pick up those last few bits, and then we can actually get these boxes open and see what's inside and make a start.
First things first, I've spent a ridiculous amount of time planning out just how we're going to lay out our Watermaker. So we've epoxy painted this wooden board, laid out everything as I think it's going to fit. But anyone who knows anything about me knows that I hate plumbing. I really don't understand plumbing. There's weird sizes, everything is in inches. I don't know why, I work in millimeters. But I need to take RO pipe, this is the raw water one, I think, this tool, and cut a whole pile of small links to go between all these different joints. If I do this wrong, we open a valve and all of it just starts spraying salt water all over the engine, so can't get this wrong.
So while Ian's doing that, my job is to learn how to fiberglass. I have never done it before, but I have done paper mache, and I figure, how different can they really be? So I need to climb inside the engine bay, which is going to be my hot and stuffy workspace for the day. In here we have our engine, but, oh, I'm caught. We've got all of this space along the side where we want to try and mount most of the Watermaker. We didn't want to be fitting the parts straight onto the fiberglass because essentially that's just going to be making holes in the hull. So I'm going to try and build basically a fake wall out of wood. I'm going to fiberglass it directly onto the hull. I have tried to get it as straight as possible, but I cannot use a spirit level because we're on a boat at anchor and it's constantly moving. So everything is done by eye. And there's absolutely no guarantee that this is gonna be anything near accurate. And as a bit of a perfectionist, I kind of hate that. So what I've tried to do is make some vertical pieces that then our board will fit to. We've got this kind of shoulder that disappears away, so we wanted to have the board as high as possible so that we don't lose space when we need to service the engine. So with some difficulty, I scribed out 3 pieces that hopefully fit the shape of the hull. So all I need to do now is actually fiberglass them onto the hull. I'm gonna do it a little bit of a cowboy way. I'm gonna use some gaffer tape to hold it in place while I mix up some fiberglass, and then hopefully just whack it on as quickly as possible and it'll hold. What I think I'm going to do is try and epoxy them onto the hull and then mix up some peanut butter, just some fiberglass, chopped fibers, into some epoxy resin and hold them into place, get rid of those internal 90-degree angle corners, And then I've got some sheets that I'll lay over the top, and that should give us enough strength to then hold the panel on. Yeah, I'm kind of experimenting, hoping that the tape holds it in place while the glue dries, and then it doesn't shift and wiggle and end up wonky.
So what we have is salt water coming in this end, going through a big diverter valve, going through a smaller filter. We had to buy this separate. We had pretty much everything we needed except for this and a few extra interconnects that we decided we were going to use. Once it goes through that, has a bleed valve, sorry, not a bleed valve, has a pickling valve, a new word to me, where it'll suck up pickling juice and put that in the system, or uses the salt water. It then comes through, feeds through this 12-volt pump, which has its own fan built on there, so we're gonna have to put some wiring on that. Once it's fed through the pump, that kind of just builds up the pressure to drive it through the rest of the system until it hits a high pressure pump further downstream. So it then comes out, goes through a bleed valve here, a stop valve as well, before coming out and going through these two filters. So I'm gonna get the sizes wrong, but these are two separate sized filters. They kind of catch any debris that the first filter didn't catch. So these are a lot smaller, and it will get rid of, a bit more of the dust, sand, dirt, things like that.
So I'm just mixing up 2 ounces of polyester resin at a time, which I think needs 28 drops of hardener. 1, 2, 3, 4, roughly. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 23, 24, 25, 26. Oh, that'll do. Yeah, I don't have a dropper tool, so it's really hard to guess how much I need. And if I put in too much, it will harden before I can use it. Oh, I just got something in my eye. Oh, that's really stingy. I'm gonna guess that's fiberglass. Okay, cancel this plan. Oh.
What's happened?
So, Google says you need to rinse it under running fresh water for 15 minutes. Oh, it is feeling better. So, I don't know if it's a little bit of stray fiberglass strand or something got in there. So I think it is out now, but I figured I may as well pour some water on my face for a little bit just to make sure. Maybe I'll wear sunglasses after this. Oh, I've got those goggles from St. Vincent.
Oh yeah, thanks Brooks. PPE. That's what you should be wearing. Who'd have thought?
Oh.
So the concern is, if it is the resin, then that I think has like a peroxide in it, which is not great. That's the same stuff you use to dye your hair white. It also has an alcohol in it, so maybe the initial sting came from the alcohol, perhaps. But yeah.
This is why you shouldn't drink, kids.
Life lessons.
Okay, these are gonna solve the problem. And make me look amazing at the same time. Right, back to it. I'm gonna mix up some more epoxy resin with hardener. I've already ripped up some of the sheet fiber that I have in here. So I need to put a sheet up this side, let it dry a little bit, and then I'm gonna put one over the front just to give it like, I mean, it is super, super solid, but just to give it that little bit more strength so that we can put the board on the front and then screw into these uprights rather than screwing into the fiberglass. Okay, I've run out of materials, so I think I'm allowed to stop now. Oh, it's like unfolding yourself. Oh, no, that didn't work. Oh, my legs are so cramped up. Okay.
So it's the moment of truth.
Well, we're going to see if the board that you've made actually fits into the engine bay, which I have doubts over. And then we're going to see if the verticals are actually straight, which I have doubts. So, yeah, let's just give it a go, huh?
What could go wrong? I'm also pretty convinced that this board is going to leak like a sieve.
I feel like we might be slightly too late in the process to find out this doesn't fit.
Yeah.
We'll be making the boat bigger rather than making this smaller.
At this stage, yeah.
Too much effort's gone into it.
Tight space, huh?
That's where I've been working for the last 36 hours.
It fits. It's all right, isn't it?
Yeah, it could come down 2 millimeters if we wanted. This is the scary bit because I'm really nervous that we're just going to split.
It's holding.
It's seriously holding. That is not going anywhere. Well done. That fiberglass is perfect.
Woohoo! It worked!
You're a fiberglasser.
I'm a fiberglasser!
So we have a bit of an air gap at the top to let the pump breathe. We've got water at the bottom. Water? I hope not. We've got an air gap along the bottom in case there's any kind of leaks from any of the pipes that are going to be running around behind.
I'm going to pretend like I meant to do that.
Yeah, sure. And then we have space to get in here and get these guys on and off using the little tool that we have.
And there's so much space for you to spend lots of time in there working on it and...
Well, you know the reason I'm happy about it? Because, yeah, it's tight, but engine bays are always tight. So I can still get in and do stuff around the engine. And I'm not really having to worry about even leaning back. I can see things and I can fit.
Yeah.
I can change the oil filters, I can check the oil, etc.
Yeah, it's not actually that much in your headspace.
It really isn't.
It looks so pretty.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
It's tiny.
Hope it works.
You probably can't see it, but down in here, there's a plastic conduit, a drain pipe. And it runs from here, right beside our fuel tanks and our water heater, all the way back to the engine bay. So I'm going to try and feed our hoses down through that. And if we're lucky, they're just going to go all the way into the engine bay. So once we've managed to use the Watermaker, all the salt and the growth and the bacteria and everything else gets built up inside the membrane. So it's a good idea to send some of the fresh water you just made back into the system. It's called the backflush. To do that, however, I got to get water from under our sink here in the galley somehow all the way back to the Watermaker in the engine bay. So our water tanks are through the wall behind you, so I just need to get this into the water tank space, which is our anchor locker, and then in theory fresh water will just come dripping out of this and fill the giant tanks. I love how Leopard have designed this boat with such easy to access crawl spaces. Maybe I just need to get better at yoga. So in theory, 2 blue pipes should be hiding inside our anchor locker. I really hope this worked. Haha, yes! Okay.
So the next stage is for the control panel. Again, we wanted to have it not fixed directly to the hull, but rather than just putting it on a board, it has so many components coming out the back. I'm going to build a box for it, which then we fiberglass to the divider in the engine bay.
Membranes!
Membranes.
You sure that's level?
No.
Oh, what? So it's taken us a little while to get here, but today I think we are finally on a task that I kind of understand, at least a little bit more. I think all the plumbing is done with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 pipes. So we're going to start on the control panel. With any luck, it'll all go smoothly, everything will be perfect, and we'll have water. We'll actually have fresh water that comes from the sea. This has probably been the most boat yoga project we've ever done on this boat. Just working in a tight space, doing so many different things. Fiberglassing, plumbing, electronics, you name it. So yeah, I don't want to do another one of these anytime soon. It's great, everything works so far, but wow, it's hard work to put it in yourself. We've been trying really hard not to cowboy anything about this project, mainly because we figured if we follow the manual, nothing can go wrong, because we don't know what we're doing. The only exception to that is part of the system is being able to taste the water before we send it to our big water tanks, so that if it is still salty or there's anything wrong with the system, we don't end up filling our tanks with water that's contaminated. So you have a taste out, and we thought it'd be kind of fun to have a tap for our taste out. But as you can see, we didn't have a fitting that would work, so I ended up wrapping up one of our little joiner pieces with some, I think it's called PF tape, and hammering it into the void until it was absolutely wedged. It doesn't go anywhere now. And then to make matters a little bit worse, I'm going to drill a hole and literally screw this tap directly into the wood. It's not great, but if it works, it'll look cool. Check it out! It worked! So now we can set our tanks, we can taste the water, and I've just about finished all of the plumbing that we need to do to be able to put the panel in place. Just gonna have to work out how to keep a panel up off the ground while I put all of these in, and then screw it in place. I might need some extra hands for that. But we're getting so close now. So close, this is great.
So we reckoned that we'd got to the point where everything was connected up and we're ready to test out the system. And now we're just running around trying to stop all the leaks. So there's something dripping in the engine bay because we keep hearing the water pump flicking on. So we're just trying to find it now. Did you find out what it was?
I think it's, yep. Found it.
That just squirted all over you. I'm just nervous that it started out as like one drip every 10 seconds and it's gonna like turn into a waterfall.
Yeah, that's when we heard the water pump going, that was my initial thought. It's like, is this going to suddenly become a nightmare?
Yeah.
Right. Drip stopped.
Good job. I can hear this bubbling on the control panel.
That's probably not a good thing either. I see why it's filled up. Oops.
Did we leave something open that we should have had closed up?
See that pipe there?
Oh yeah, look. That's a waterfall.
I'm sure this isn't how you're supposed to commission the system.
Yeah, not the most professional.
Hey, we're not sinking.
It's also really disconcerting when you hear the waves inside there.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, there's water. That sounds like a lot. Oh no, it's on the outside of the boat. That's allowed.
Sloshing sounds, yeah.
So there is one tiny leak still that we haven't been able to work out. We think that's kind of okay, but there's something bubbling which implies there's air in the system, which there definitely shouldn't be. So we are going to actually read the manual and find out what we should have done. Okay, instructions.
Instructions.
Are we on the SM20, SM30 or SM40?
Sure.
Excellent. Open the ship's through-hole valve and verify no leaks.
Check.
Is it open?
It's open.
Okay.
We should be good.
Okay. Depress the boost pump switch on the control panel.
Nope.
That'll be a power issue then.
Oh, yeah. At the switchboard, where I've labelled it water. Power that up. That would help. Take two. Depressing boost switch.
You should hear the pump run as it self-primes.
I hear a fan.
The fan should run at the same time. Okay.
I hear an awful lot of water coming out of our valves.
Is it supposed to do that?
That's just the fan running on the pump.
So does that mean that the air has been purged then?
Let me see if we've got salt water at the pump, because that would be a giveaway.
Do you want the bucket?
That's seawater.
Did you drink it?
Yeah, I tasted it. Okay, so we have got seawater. I'm beyond nervous at this point.
Yeah.
The good news is I don't see any more leaks.
That's very good.
At least I haven't seen any yet. But all of the fittings appear to not be leaking, which is incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Let's take that for a win.
Too right.
We've also discovered that we don't have a breaker large enough on the high pressure pump. So we've bled the system and is good to go, but we can't check the high pressure pump. And now it's the end of the day. So tomorrow we will need to go and get a new breaker and then hopefully we'll have water. All right, day 2 of Watermaker installation. We have found a breaker, we have installed it. So now we have to go through all that setup process again, but hopefully this time it'll actually work.
Ready.
There's like a million steps to this. So there's water coming out of this end and it just said run it for a few minutes until there's water coming out of this end and all the bubbles have gone.
Whereas this time around the glass vessel's got no water in it.
Oh my goodness, this is taking ages. And we don't understand it. Okay. Verify that the product water is set to sample and not to tanks.
Yes.
Okay, we can turn on the high pressure pump and let it run for about 5 minutes to ensure that air bubbles have been flushed from the system. The boost pressure will drop as the pump adjusts the additional flow required. Okay, still not working. Well, that has taken longer than expected. We have spent the last 5 days climbing in and out of the engine bay, on the phone to Rich from Cruise RO, trying to problem solve and work out what is not working. We ran out of water 4 days ago. My hair really needs a wash. I'm washing dishes in the sea off the back step, so I really, really hope that this works. We've set ourselves the deadline of 3 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock now, so we've got 2 hours to try and fix this problem and get the Watermaker up and running. Otherwise, we really need to go to a dock and fill the tanks with water. So I'm hopeful that this is the very, very last time that there's a problem, but we have been saying that 3 times a day for the last week. So fingers crossed it'll actually work this time. It's 3 o'clock. We had to come and fill it with water. We tried it again, thought we had it. We were going to run the Watermaker, and still there's voltage drops. So we are just so done with it by this stage. I just want water. I want to be able to brush my teeth.